Well, it's just the reason I ask as well is that with WrestleMania coming up, which I say sarcastically because obviously we just watched it, but do you think with obviously with WrestleMania and coronavirus that WWE were kind of what's the well either way they were fucked either way. They could cancel the show and then everyone complains and or they go ahead of the show and everyone's complaining.
Yeah, they were damned if they do, damned if they don't. I mean, if they don't do it, then it's looked at as a major loss as far as finances go. I mean, they lost that payday in Florida. At the same time, though, this is an entertainment company that keeps going. My personal opinion, look, at the end of the day, the stock and the finances, their quarterly statements, everything that is on paper is based on revenue and it's based on things that happen. And this coronavirus, when there's an investor call, if they would have canceled WrestleMania, the investors would understand that this was a lost opportunity beyond WWE's control. So the idea is, okay, we'll still do it and we're doing it for the fans. And although a lot of people realize that, there's a lot of other entertainers and sports and movies and everything else that want to entertain us right now, but are forced not to because of health risks, wrestling should not be above everyone else. Although, as a wrestling fan, I'd rather see some matches happen than none at all. I have said very recently that I thought the idea of pre-recording a lot of WrestleMania matches actually is a positive because they can edit, they could tweak, they could add things, they could take things away. Rather than doing it live, they could get very, very creative. And my God, I'll use an example since he's fairly new in AEW, Matt Hardy. They did the Broken Universe in TNA and they had the final deletion. I don't remember any live crowds being in attendance when they were brawling at the Hardy Confine and everything else. So the idea that fans have to be there live in order for it to be great is really kind of ignorant when you think about it. Now, wrestling would suck if it never performed in front of crowds or if it was months and months and months. But WWE, say what you want about they're forcing certain people getting pushed over the years and being a little bit tone deaf of what fans really want. But creativity and production wise, they got a pretty good track record. So I'm not as negative on WrestleMania going down this way as many others out there. And if we beat this virus, we get towards the summertime, you have SummerSlam in Boston, that's when they can go, pardon my French, balls out and kind of make up for what went down WrestleMania. So I really don't look at it as much of a negative. Sure, it's not going to be like previous years. There'll always be the asterisk because of the coronavirus. But, as a wrestling fan, I think a lot of people are just looking at the glass half empty instead of it being half full. Is that the right way to say it? Yeah, I think
Uh,
they look. Yeah, I think it's the right way to say it.
we don't have half filled glasses over here. It's all or nothing.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
But
uh,
one of the things that I think would make WrestleMania pretty cool and different this year is, as you said, like with the Hardy compound, they could decorate the room depending on the match. Like with the Bray Wyatt one, it could switch between a funhouse to the whatever the fuck the other dimension, and the Undertaker's could be a graveyard thing, and the Edge Orton one could be all surrounded by Lita's underwear.
I think this allows them to be very, very creative. Um, the only thing that people really should be prepared for is some matches, and they should have been prepared for it. Some matches will have ridiculous finishes. Some matches will end like this. Some matches, the idea is, all right, we already announced the feud, the storyline, so we kind of have to go through with it. But maybe a month from now, They can perform in front of a live crowd, so we'll give a BS finish. And then we'll see a month from now, or a pay-per-view, the next pay-per-view, or 2 pay-per-views down the line. So there's going to be a lot less, there's going to be more unfinished business now than maybe in past WrestleManias. Like the night after WrestleMania was always looked at, or mostly looked at, as the new season. Even though season premieres happen in a different time during the year, but night after WrestleMania is really like where the new chapter begins. This year, you will have some new chapters, but you will also see some chapters that are not fully closed. And that's, I think, the right way to go.
But weirdly, this WrestleMania has been the most must-see for me in years, because I have to see what this is now.
Yeah. It's really going to challenge them creatively. Look, there's a lot of ways it could go. It could be entertaining, like I said, Final Deletion, or it could end up being something like Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt in that house that they brawled at that time. I mean, that was kind of bad. I mean, I think overall, the wrestlers are pretty damn good performers also. A lot of them, pardon my language, a lot of them do have the capability of turning chicken shit into chicken salad. So even though the writing might be a little bit subpar at times, it's the wrestler's job right now to really step it up and take something that may not be the perfect mold and try to get it as perfect as possible. I love the fact that they can edit and redo something. I know it's, wrestling, when you see it live, you want to see it raw, pun intended, and you want to see it in its original product. But at the end of the day, pro wrestling, for the most part, I mean, across the board, I should say, it's an entertainment. It's a form of entertainment. So, yeah, things are going to be edited. Things will be tweaked. You might have some over-the-top things happening. That's always been in wrestling, so I have no problem with it. I really don't.